With May as the new face of the Hong Kong protests, is it time for an Overwatch and Winnie the Pooh mashup?
I'm Mac Fraser.
I'm Backrolls, and we're the Nintendo Nerds.
We're a comedy and gaming duo here to help you craft and play your way to a better day.
We met in the not-too-distant past during some spirited online Mario Kart, and discovered we share a love for art, gaming, and all things Nintendo.
And we want to share some of our nerdy knowledge with you.
So stick around, because in today's video, we will be discussing Blizzard's big screw-up, and why it should matter to you. So we have to admit that making this video feels a bit like we are just gut-punching ourselves. Personally, I have a long history with Blizzard. Growing up, I played countless hours of StarCraft and Diablo 2. Most of my middle school evenings were spent on Battle.net.
And the two of us were really looking forward to purchasing and playing Overwatch, but in light of recent events, we feel compelled to boycott Blizzard unless they change their stance.
So, for those of you not already caught up, or for those of you who have the details of this a little hazy, because there's a lot of misinformation out there right now, we think it's important to share the recent events as facts, and then express why we think it's important for you to have an opinion on this, one way or another. There's a lot to cover, and we will try to keep it straightforward, so let's dive right in.
Now, the first thing that you need to know in the context of the political climate of Hong Kong, as best as we can explain it in about 2 minutes, there have been massive protests in Hong Kong against the Chinese government for the past 4 months, and things have only been escalating. Hundreds of thousands of people have been protesting in the streets because of a law that China was trying to impose on Hong Kong.
According to Vox, this all actually began on February 17, 2018, when a murder occurred in Taiwan by a man from Hong Kong. The man murdered his girlfriend in Taiwan and then returned to Hong Kong, and things became complicated. There is no law of extradition between Hong Kong and Taiwan, so a Hong Kong native cannot be charged for a crime that occurred in Taiwan. The Chinese government introduced an extradition bill in April of 2019.
Opponents of this bill say that it gives China an unnecessary foothold in Taiwan and would allow them to silence political opponents in the media, and from there, the protests began. The protesters are now a massive group which has decided that pulling the bill is not enough. Hong Kong has been fighting to gain their independence for a long time, and the people have decided that now is the time to fight for it, and protests have grown intense and violent. The umbrella has become a symbol of the Hong Kong protests due to the need of peaceful protesters to protect themselves from tear gas canisters. The Chinese police have also used fire hoses and rubber bullets on peaceful protesters, and at least 2 protesters have been shot, thankfully not killed. This is a very bombastic and tense time in Hong Kong with no current signs of letting up.
So, what does Blizzard have to do with all of this? Well, until last week, nothing. But on October 6th, at the Hearthstone Grandmasters Tournament, player Blitzchung called out in a post-game interview, "Liberate Hong Kong, the revolution of our times," a common rallying cry of the Hong Kong protesters. The very next day, the punishment that arrived was swift, and it was brutal.
Blizzard banned Blitzchung for a year from competitive play and stripped his prize money. Blitzchung had signed a player agreement with the clause that allows for the termination if a player, quote, brings you into public disrepute, offends a portion or group of the public, or otherwise damages Blizzard's image. They also banned the 2 commentators, claiming that they did not do their job in keeping the focus on the tournament.
And then the wrath of the internet began to unfold. US politicians, professional streamers, and a wave of Blizzard fans have taken to Twitter, Reddit, and the like to express their anger, their confusion, and their commitment to boycotting the company if they do not reverse this action. In the middle of writing this script for this video, however, the plot thickened even further.
After a week of complaints and outcries, the president of Blizzard, J. Allen Brack, released a statement that pleased just about no one. The part of the statement that reeks of insincerity to us is this: the specific views expressed by Blitzchung were not a factor in the decision we made. I want to be clear, our relationships in China had no influence on our decision. In this statement, they also reduced the sentences of the casters and Blitzchung to 6 months instead of the full year. This, as you can imagine, was met with derision and even more outrage. So with just a few weeks to go until BlizzCon and an angry gaming community that has gained even the attention of the mainstream media, why are we covering this? And why do we think you should care?
Now, there are plenty of gamers out there who think that games and gamers should not get involved in politics, and we get it. Gaming is an escape for most of us, and if you want more casual gaming material, don't worry, we are still here to talk about art, design, and video games. But this is such a gigantic misstep that we feel compelled as consumers to no longer participate or promote Blizzard games unless they completely reverse these actions. Blizzard is within their right as a corporation to make these decisions, this is true, but what they have done is reminded us why Blizzard is here, to make our money.
This is ironic that this is happening just before BlizzCon, and time will tell just how much this will spell disaster at the live event. But last year's BlizzCon was an odd prologue of sorts to the events that are happening now. Last year at BlizzCon, the event brought the announcement of a Diablo mobile game, a choice that baffled Western Blizzard fans, to the point where someone in the live Q&A asked if it was an incredibly belated April Fool's joke, to rounds of applause. But this was not a choice made in the interest of Western Blizzard fans. A Diablo mobile game exists to appeal to a Chinese market. This isn't the only example of Blizzard investing into the Asian market either. While the Warcraft movie was a bomb in the United States, it doubled its budget in China.
So, with Blizzard leaning in so heavily to the Asian market, it's not entirely surprising that they would make these kind of choices. Tencent, a Chinese company, owns 5% of Blizzard shares, and they are clearly demonstrating going forward that they will be making decisions that they feel are going to be best for their bottom line. But given the grave situation in Hong Kong, this move feels heavy-handed and callous. Blitzchung actually put his personal safety on the line by making a political statement like that on such a public platform in support of Hong Kong. It seems pretty apparent that Blizzard's reaction to this is simply a gross flex that is meant to show the Chinese government that they are on their side.
If you doubt that at all, we should highlight that in a statement from Brack, Blizzard's president, he said nothing to address this statement from Blizzard China. We are very angered and disappointed at what happened at the event last weekend and highly object to the expression of personal political beliefs in any of our events. As always, we will defend the pride and dignity of China at all costs.
So, with all the information we have thrown at you, how are we feeling about it? Well, we were really excited to play Overwatch, and now we are not. And we don't think you should be either. Blizzard is within their right to make these decisions, but we have every right to think that they are spineless. This move by Blizzard to appeal to an authoritarian regime and make an example out of Blitzchung says to the gaming community, we believe in worldwide gaming as long as it makes us money and you shut your effing mouth. But we're totally cool with exploiting political stances like supporting the LGBTQ+ community when it's profitable. And that's not where we want to send our dollars anymore.
Don't care about politics? There's a saying from a famous Greek figure, Pericles, whether or not you take an interest in politics, politics takes an interest in you. If you tune this out and continue to buy and play Blizzard games, that is a financial decision that tells Blizzard, we are okay with you strong-arming us at a moment's notice. Human lives are on the line is not something that matters to me, and hey, if it doesn't matter to you, you probably already clicked out of this video, and we can't force you to feel a certain type of way.
But if you are bothered by all of this, the best way to make a change is to make sure that Blizzard feels this impact financially. As we release this video, Overwatch debuts on the Switch tomorrow, and we encourage you to not buy it. If you really want to spend some video game dollars and want something devoid of any of this negativity, we highly recommend Untitled Goose Game. If you really need some multiplayer online action, as much as this is about to pain Mac, Fortnite is free. And Tim Sweeney, CEO of Epic Games, has stated that even though there is Tencent owning a large stake of Epic Games, as controlling shareholder, he will never allow someone to be banned from their platforms for their political views. Downloading and playing Fortnite tomorrow instead of Overwatch is a highly effective and free way to vote with your gaming time.
As much as this is a Pandora's box, we're gonna ask, how do you feel about the situation? Are you gonna buy Overwatch tomorrow? Let us know in the comment section below and be sure to subscribe for more nerdy content. As always, we hope you leave this video ready to pick up a Pro Controller, a paintbrush, or a pen. I'm Mac Fraser.
I'm Backrolls, and this has been the Nintendo Nerds.